Hello and welcome to the Riverside show here on STV Glasgow. And on tonight's show we're live from the Ryder Cup. We also learn about the history of the Forth and Clyde Canal, and we have a look around Glasgow's iconic Scotland Street School.
In around 15 minutes time we'll cross over to the STV Glasgow news team for the latest news and sport update from Lucy White.
But first of all, let's have a look at some of the stories online and in the papers. And we're joined by social enterprise consultant Edward Harkin and Tom Collins from our STV Glasgow app team. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Edward, you've got the first story this evening. What have you got for us?
The Hillhead Primary, once again, is in the news. This time it's because of severe overcrowding complaints from the parents there. Seems that the problem is that when the school was relocated to its existing location some time ago, it was also merged with 3 other primary schools, and the Hillhead Primary Parents Council is now saying this is actually generating chronic overcrowding. So there's a great deal of unhappiness around just now.
Yeah, this problem hasn't just come to light recently though, has it? They've been discussing this and potential solutions for a while now.
Yes, one of the solutions, Stephen Curran's the City Council's representative on education and young people, and he's trying to promote a compromise solution just now, saying let's relocate some of the primary kids to the high school. That's met with some pretty stiff opposition from some of the parents on the council.
Yeah, I can imagine so. So how is this overcrowding then affecting facilities and the school?
It's particularly the science and particularly the slightly older children that they're just not got the accommodation to properly deal with it. That's the core of the problem. But the sheer numbers themselves are the primary problem.
Yeah, okay. Now, Tom, how have parents reacted? They're obviously not pleased by the situation.
No, they haven't actually responded very well. One parent actually accused Glasgow City Council of flanelling and said that they should accept that they've made a series of errors in decision making. I think they're just wanting a long-term plan. They don't accept this as a long-term plan.
Yeah.
Okay. And Edward, what are the options to be considered in the consultation then?
Well, just now, as I say, Councillor Stephen Curran is promoting the idea of saying let's take some of the older kids and have them relocated in the Hillhead High School, which isn't at a great distance. And the beauty of that solution would be that the Kelvin Early Years Nursery School would be allowed to stay where it is just now. A number of the Parents' Council of Hillhead Primary are saying there isn't really a need for it to be there at that location, so why don't you just move the nursery? The solution being promoted is, well, that would let the nursery stay where it is. But as Tom said there, some pretty harsh words from some of the parents on that solution.
Yeah, well, we'll follow that and see what the solution.
Easy one.
No, I come to. Tom, you've got the next story this evening.
Yeah. This is a story about the Castlehead Church, over in Paisley. Now, the original plans were announced earlier this year, and it does sound like a sequel to a poltergeist. They're wanting to place 12 luxury flats, or convert the church into 12 luxury flats and turn the adjoining graveyard into a car park. Okay. Now, that wasn't met very well by residents at all.
No, it wasn't. We've covered this story before on the show, actually, and heard the plans weren't really met with a lot of enthusiasm for residents. No.
So what are the plans now then? What's the latest? What's the
well, the architects, cooking architects, they're not going to go ahead with those plans anymore. And what they're now inviting ideas in to work out other ways of where they can put the car parking, so they can obviously find a better way for these residents as well.
Yeah,
not the best plan, is it really?
I think that turns into a bit of a good story actually, because the developer, the Coogan architects, have actually listened to the concerns and listened to the advice from the planning department, which was, look, I think we should withdraw this, and are now, as the lead architect says, we're stepping back and reconsidering what we might do here.
Yeah, no, positive indeed. But why, Tom, why is this such a sensitive and important issue for the local people?
Well, there's a number of gravestones there that are quite important. The Weaver poet, to name it one, Robert Tannehill, his gravestone's still there. They were going to cordon that off, that wasn't going to go. But there's also other interests. Ronald Reagan's great-great-grandparents were wed and buried at that church. So that's another reason it's quite special to the local community.
Yeah.
So a lot of history in there as well. And what have the council said about this, Edward?
Well, it's interesting. The feature here does quote the Renfrewshire Council leader, Mark McMillan, and he's saying what we're hoping to do here is there must be some ideas out there that could balance reviving this site with respecting its heritage. And I think what a lot of people will be hoping is that it doesn't go the way of Doomster Hill down at Govan in Glasgow, where we did end up with the proverbial car park over the ancient site. So again, I think there's good signs here. The developers held back, and now the council is saying, let's look for new ideas here.
So do you think then that that's the development of the flats and the church, has that completely been taken off the table, or do you think we might see something like that still
I think
take
it's
place?
too valuable a prospect to not go forward. And you get the sense from the paper that people in the community are still saying, well, it's not the development, development as such we're objecting to. It's we don't like some aspects of this one, especially to do with the graves.
Okay.
Okay, now I've got a story here from the Evening Times, and quite a well-known deli in the south side in Shawlands on Skirving Street, Deli 1901, has had to close its doors. And we actually looked at some development plans for Shawlands last night, so this is quite an interesting one. But why has the deli had to close down?
Well, this is a topic because of my own work, it's very close to my heart. It's about the whole future of Glasgow and indeed Scotland's traditional shopping centres and high streets. The owner here, Colin Campbell of Deli 1901, he said, I just couldn't keep it going. I did try to keep it afloat, but the problem is the recession's supposed to be over. But he's saying there's precious little sign of it here in Glasgow. And I find it interesting that there's actually a couple of Twitter hashtags now. One is What Recovery and the other is Who's Recovery. So he's reflecting that, and I think very reluctantly in the end he's just had to accept he hasn't got a commercial proposition on his hands.
Yeah, sad news there, yeah. And Tom, what has the reaction to the closure been? Is there concern in the area?
Yeah, I think they're quite sad that it's another kind of popular business not there anymore, and there's other concerns that another takeaway might just open up, not another place where you can go and sit and have like a fresh meal.
Yeah.
It seemed quite popular, people from all over the city travelling to go to the deli. But Edward, like I said last night on the show, we're talking about the plans for the Civic Square in Shawlands, and a consultation process is underway. Will that improve this situation?
Well, I think, there's this term going about save our high street. A lot of people are campaigning to save our high street, and the reality is you won't save them, you have to reinvent them. And for that reason, I'm quite supportive of the council's approach in saying, let's look at this as a conservation area. Now, lots of people think, oh goodness, that's the last thing we need. In fact, if you link that to culture, leisure, heritage, then you could, as was quoted here from one of the council speakers, saying we could end up with one of Glasgow's leading destinations for people to shop, eat, drink and visit once again, because that is what Shawlands was until relatively recently.
There's also a good point brought up there about the parking. A lot of people feel that people are getting scared away because they're having to check the parking meter every now and again. That's pushing them off to Braehead and Silverburn. So they're hoping that they can try and bring in some sort of like free parking time for the Shawlands area.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope this regeneration as well breathes some new life back into Shawlands.
I think so. Another thing I would say is, I would have to say for the traditional places, I don't know that free car parking is going to be a great help. You're still not going to compete against the Braeheads attempting that. I think it is about this reinventing yourself, and I think particularly this thing about linking into online. The companies that are really making it, like John Lewis, they're doing an in-shop, offline and online seamless connection. And I think that's what high streets need to buy.
A lot of these big retailers have that power, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, a few more
Yeah,
advantages.
we'll see what happens. Shawlands obviously going under a lot of work in the near future. Now, I've got a story here, and it's from the Paisley Daily Express about culture, and a Paisley schoolgirl is hoping to encourage more youngsters to take an interest in the arts after she landed a prestigious role as a cultural advisor. So, what exactly is what's she going to be part of, and what's our new role going to entail, Tom?
Well, as cultural advisor, she's going to join 13 other young people who work in projects involved in helping Scotland's young children achieve in the arts. She'll be helping the agenda of what's called the Time to Shine agenda, and that's going to help children improve their knowledge of the arts and obviously help propel their hopeful careers in that.
Yeah.
So why have young people been put at the heart of the programme then?
Well, the director of the programme, Colin Brady, said that it will help resonate with their aspirations, and it will also help recognise what needs to be done. If it's a project that's trying to help young people, you need to make sure that young people are involved in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do we know, Edward, what Fiona Hislop, MSP, what she said about the scheme?
Well, she's proving a very competent, if I may say so, Minister for Culture in the Scottish Government, and she emphasised this point about she wanted it to be young people at the heart of the programme, and the Time to Shine agenda that they're building up. She said that's been drawn from across all parts of the country, and she feels that will particularly strengthen the credibility and the representative nature of that panel. So she's very committed to it, so that's starting at the top, so that's good.
Okay.
And Tom, you've got a final story.
Yeah, this was the Hydro last night. Is it well called the Frock and Roll Stars? This is to open up the Ryder Cup that's obviously coming to Glen Eagles this week. Scottish acts such as Amy MacDonald, Twin Atlantic, Nina Nesbitt and Texas were all playing, and they're also treated to a special film of the Highlands and Islands by Kim Gavin, who was also involved heavily in the London 2012 ceremony as well.
Yeah, a great
like a brilliant night. Yeah,
great celebration for another sort of fantastic sporting event there. And do you think we'll continue to build on this with more events like that over at the Hydro?
Well, Hydro in Glasgow has seen a lot this year, and it's difficult to keep that sort of level up. Next year we've got the World Gymnastics coming here, and also the Mobile Awards are still going to be here. Yeah. But I think we're going to have to accept that we're maybe not going to have the same level, but I think there's still going to be lots of great events.
Yeah,
it's the EMA's in November as
well.
I
know, so much happening.
It's busy, yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight on Newspaper Review.
Thank you. Now, this weekend we start our new political series, Scottish Parliament This Week, right here on STV Glasgow at the weekend, and it's presented by Jerry Cassidy, and here he is with all the details.